My name is Nicola White. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm a licensed Thames mudlark with a creative permit issued by the Port of London Authority. Did you know that when the tide goes out, the Thames foreshore is the largest open-air archaeological site in the UK? The Thames runs right through the centre of London, so just imagine all the objects that have been lost or thrown into its murky depths right back through the ages. The original Victorian mudlarks were the poorest of the poor in society. They scoured the mud at low tide for anything they could find to sell for a few pennies. Modern day mudlarks, such as myself, are searching for pieces of history left out when the tide goes down. The 19th century MP John Burns described the River Thames as liquid history. I like to think of it as a giant liquid storybook, and oh, what stories it can tell. Today I invite you to come along with me as I search for secrets of London's past, and then find out some of the intriguing stories behind the objects that I find. So, look what I've just seen, poking out of the mud, just there between my boots. It looks like a pipe stem. The unmistakable sign of a pipe stem. And, ooh, what have we got here? Oh, and there is a bowl on it. And I can feel the design. Oh wow. Do you know what? There could be an artillery gun on there if I'm not mistaken, but I think we'll be able to see it easier when it's faded a little. Once it's been out of the mud for a while, it will fade and it will be easier to see the pattern. Because I can't quite make it out, but there's definitely something on there, but I can make out something round, and it could be an artillery gun. That's really exciting. I do have a Royal Artillery clay pipe at home. I wonder if it's the same as that one. Wow, what a great find. Now, I just saw this, and I thought that it was a button. However, it's not. It's a lot more exciting than a button. And I found a few of these now, and I wasn't sure what they were, but recently I found out, thanks to a post on Instagram or somewhere by my friend Anna Borzello, I know what this is now. It's the top of a tobacco lid. Yeah, the lid from a box that would have held tobacco. And isn't it lovely? I suppose the box must have been made from wood and that's rotted away. And I think this dates to about the 19th century, probably the mid-19th century. Oh my goodness, I've just seen something down here, potentially really exciting. There could be a hammered coin, could be a trader's token. It's just here. Totally miraculous that I spotted this because it blends in so well into the background. Oh, it's windy. Oh my gosh, look at this. Do you know what? I think that is a trader's token, and a really lovely one. Look, it's got a name. It looks like John Sell. Oh, what's it called?
on the other side. Now what is that? What's on the other side? I can't wait to get home and investigate this. Pretty sure though that that's John Cell. I can't see what it says around the edge. Ooh, it's in quite good condition, a little bit nibbled, but do you know what, on the other side it looks like a little chicken or a cockerel. This could be from the Cock Inn or something similar. He could be a farmer, he could be an innkeeper. Watch this space. Let's see what we can find out about John Cell. Now this is interesting. It looks like it's made out of bone or possibly ivory. It's got two sort of threaded ends there. Curious. Now over there is the base of a bottle. I daren't hope that it's going to be in one piece, but it could be an apothecary bottle. Oh gosh. Could it be in one piece? Could it be? Hold your breath, everyone. Hold your breath. Let's do a little bottle extraction. Oh my goodness. Oh, 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 oh. Well, do you know what? It's pretty much in one piece. Look at this beautiful apothecary bottle. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I am in love. There's just a bit of the top here missing, but I'm going to have a little look down there and see if I can find the pieces. But that is stunning. That is absolutely stunning. Oh, it's so kind of, you know, misshapen, if you like. It's just gorgeous. Oh, that is an absolute treat. An absolute treat. Now I'm going to see if the rest of the top of it is in the hole. Oh my gosh. What a beautiful surprise. What a beautiful surprise. Now, as to the age, I think this could be 1700s. Somebody I know found one recently, very similar, and so yeah, I'll check when I get back home. I just want to show you a couple of things which I discovered. There is this, which looks like the top of a bucket. It's wooden, and you can see these little copper rivets here around the edge. It's quite nice. A small bucket, and over here I just tugged something out, but I haven't looked at it yet. I'm going to look at it with you here. Now it looks like the top of a tin or something. It's actually broken, but it's got a pretty pattern on it. Let's go and give it a wash and see if we can see a little bit more clearly what's on it. Let's find a puddle. Where's a puddle when you want one? Okay, there's a little bit of water just here. Let's have a look. Well, that's pretty, isn't it? Have a close look at home. That is very nice. Actually, I don't know if it is the top of a box. It's just the corner to something, isn't it? Although there's a hinge there, so that would indicate that it was attached to something. Well, we can have a closer look at home, but a pretty ornate piece of metal. And I'm debating whether or not to take that bit of bucket. I don't think I will, because I think it's going to fall apart pretty promptly, so I shall leave it there. I'll pop that in my bag though. What is that? Can you see that? Looks like a pipe bowl. Oh gosh. Do you know what? It is. That is really lovely. Now that is a pipe bowl with some cricket stumps on it, a cricket bat, and a cricketer. Now, I've got some of these at home actually, but this one is in really good condition. Wow, what a lovely find. It's amazing that these stay in such crisp condition after all these years washing around in the river. This one must have been buried because you can see the design there, so crisp and clear. Lovely. What I've just dug up here. It's a bottleneck. A broken bottleneck, but look what it's got in it. It's still got the stopper in there. Let's take it out for the first time in a long time. Probably over 100 years. There it is. Let's give it a little rinse. And there's a beautiful sun today to do the bottle stopper in the sun shot. This one's still got a little bit of cork around it. Lovely. Now this is an interesting patch, and look what we've got here. It looks like there could be Victorian inkwell here, possibly a boat ink, tantalisingly eroding out of the mud. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. See if it's in one piece. Right, this is the moment of truth. Oh yes, look, isn't that gorgeous? Look at the iridescence on there as well. Oh, how lovely. That's beautiful. You see the little ridges there, the little grooves where the pens were laid. Well, I think I caught that just in time. What's this down here? Is that a coin or a key? It's a coin, and it's a modern coin, a modern penny. I'll leave that there. And what do I see down here? It's Button Central. It often is Button Central. Now this one, will this one have a maker on the other side? Oh. Excelsior. It's another standard one. Of quite a few Excelsior buttons at home. Now, take a look down here. It's quite interesting because this area where I am at the moment, it's a bit of a dump, and there's lots of oyster shells and bones and even jawbones, and they're mostly sheep and cow. But I've just seen a jawbone, or part of a jawbone, poking out here. And these teeth are definitely not omnivore. This is a meat eater, so this must be a dog jaw, I should think. Let's have a look. Yeah, very interesting. Those are definitely meat-eating teeth. Maybe a family pet in Georgian times. Now look, down here there's another button, but this time it's not a plain workman's button. It looks like a naval button. What does that say on there? Well, that's interesting because it looks as if it says Worcester. Sometimes these tiny objects, these tiny things like buttons, can really tell a big story.
Hi everyone, thank you very much indeed for watching my video. I hope that you enjoyed that little foray along the River Thames foreshore as much as I did, and I'm really looking forward to talking to you a little bit about some of the finds that you saw me pick out of the Thames mud that day. But first of all, how are you doing? I hope that wherever you're watching from, all is well in your world. And as always, I hope that if it's not going so well, that it really soon will be. The exciting news is that today it's the 20th of March and it is officially the beginning of spring, and the sun is shining outside, and it always makes me so happy, the beginning of spring and the sun shining. There just seems to be so much more hope and light, and it's just so nice waking up in the morning with the sun shining through instead of it being all dark, you know, like it is in winter. It just makes me feel a lot lighter, basically, and so I hope that the sun is shining wherever you are today. So let's take a look at some of these finds, and there are two in particular that I'm quite excited about, and if you watch my videos on a regular basis you might be able to guess which ones. The first one is the tiny trader's token that I found with the name John Sell on it. So let's talk a little bit about that, but first of all, what is a trader's token? Well, they were used for a relatively short period of time during the 17th century, more specifically between 1648 and 1672, as unofficial currency because of a lack of small change at that time. So they were issued by merchants, businessmen, taverns, inns, bakers, butchers, candlestick makers, pipe makers, and people could use them in their shops and businesses to buy items, food, pipes, candles, bread, whatever. And on these traders' tokens, and I've now found about 5 of them, I think, the exciting thing is that there's the initials usually of the person who issued them, and the initials of the wife or the initials of the husband, if it's the wife that issued it. There's usually a little picture in the middle depicting the tavern or the inn, or if it's a candle maker, there could be a few candles, or if it's a pipe maker, there could be a few pipes. And there's usually an address, and there's sometimes a date. And so it's very exciting to find something with the name on it of somebody who was walking around London in the 17th century, between 1648 and 1672, when such a lot went on. I mean, there was the Great Plague, there was the Fire of London. So that's one of the reasons why I was so excited when I saw the name John Sell on that token. So on the token, more specifically, let's have a look at it. On one side, it says "at the hen and then in the middle, there is a hen surrounded by little chicks. And on the other side, it says chickens at Hammond's Quay. So in other words, at the hen and chickens at Hammond's Quay, and the name John Sell. Now, I love the depiction of the hen surrounded by her little chicks. And I love the way that on the token, chickens is spelt chickens, with an INS instead of ENS. So a pub presumably called the Hen and Chickens on Hammond's Quay, which was situated near Lower Thames Street. And it's quite unusual actually, because I found a pewter tavern mug, some of you may remember, with the name of a landlord on, and he, James Burrows, he was called, he was the landlord of the Rose and Crown at Lower Thames Street in the early 1800s. And so now I've just found the name of a publican or tavern owner from the 1600s, also very close to Lower Thames Street. So that's quite a coincidence. I looked up John Sell, hoping that I was going to be able to find some information about him on Ancestry, but I was quite amazed to see how many John Sells there were, lots and lots. But I did come up with some information from the Museum of London. They already have one in their collection. And so I was able to find out at least that John Sell died in 1664 and his wife Dorothy took the hen and chickens over. And they actually also have a trader's token in Dorothy's name. So that is really interesting. And actually, talking of the Museum of London, that's where the token is at the moment, because it's being recorded by the Fines Liaison Officer to go on the Portable Antiquities Scheme. My next favourite find has to be this bottle, this apothecary bottle, which, well, an apothecary nowadays would be like a chemist or a pharmacist. And what could have been in this bottle, which dates back to the 1700s? Well, you can only really imagine the types of medicine that might have been in here: pills, ointments, powders, cures for all sorts of things. And actually, I came across a really nice article that my friend and fellow mudlark Jason Sandy wrote in the Beachcombing magazine. And he says, "I spotted the beautiful flared rim of an 18th century apothecary bottle. As I extracted it from the mud, I couldn't believe it was complete. It's truly a miracle that these fragile glass vessels survived for 300 years in the turbulent River Thames." My thoughts exactly. "Since I found these bottles on the riverbed below a historic dock, I can imagine that they could have been dropped from a ship before or after a long journey on the open sea. In the 18th century, glass bottles were often used to store medicines until they were needed during a long voyage. These bottles, I discovered, could possibly have been a vital part of a sea surgeon's medical supplies to treat ill sailors or those wounded in battles at sea. According to the inventory of a sea surgeon's medical chest, glass bottles were used to store oils, balsams, juices, dried seeds, powders, smelling salts, minerals, preserves, distilled waters, syrups, decoctions, cinnamon, cloves, maces, nutmegs, whole and parts of animals, extract of coloquintida, essence of cantharidine, spirit of nitre," gosh, we're getting a bit complicated now, "camphor and turpentine. I wonder what medicine or apothecary's concoction is still contained in the cork bottle I found." Jason's bottle still had a cork in it. Mine doesn't, of course. But I also found mine on an area, or very close to an area, where there was a lot of shipbuilding, a lot of coming and going. So this apothecary bottle here could also have been on a ship during a long voyage. And who knows, it's anyone's guess what was once in this bottle. And that is one of the amazing things about mudlarking. It gets your imagination going. It really, really does. You hold something like this in your hand that somebody was holding back in the 18th century, and it really does feel very special. It's such a connection to the past. Right, what next? So I have here in front of me lots of clay pipes. You saw me find 2 clay pipes during that outing. And the first one, I had my suspicions that it was a Royal Artillery themed pipe. And I was right. But I have a confession to make because I can't find the pipe that I found. Sometimes that happens. I'm usually pretty well organised. I put things in a little bag with the name of where I found them and the date and all that kind of thing. And I'm sure I must have done that, but can I find that clay pipe? No, I can't. But I did find an almost identical Royal Artillery clay pipe that's a couple of years earlier, and I have found that one, and it's identical pretty much. And so I'm going to show you that one, and it does indeed have Royal Artillery guns on it, and there's also a little tiny soldier. And so I thought it would also be nice to show you some of my military themed clay pipes. I've got quite a few now, and so take a look at these, and I hope that you enjoy them. Now my second pipe that you saw me find is a sports themed clay pipe, and it is another cricket one, and I've actually got several cricket themed clay tobacco pipes, and this one here is just in such beautiful condition. It's got a lovely depiction of a man playing cricket holding the bat here, and on the other side the cricket stumps, is that what you call them? No, the wickets and the stumps. So that joins my cricket themed clay pipe collection, which is looking very good. The next thing I want to mention to you is this little button here, which has the fouled anchor on it and Worcester, which refers to HMS Worcester, which was built in 1843. Now, for quite a time, HMS Worcester was a training ship, but before it became a training ship, it must have spent some time in the River Medway at Stangate Creek, where ships quarantined after returning from far-flung voyages. And the reason I know this is because, was it last year or maybe the year before, I made a video about a surgeon called Sidney Bernard, who was treating yellow fever patients on a ship which was quarantining at Stangate Creek in 1845. It had just returned from West Africa, and the crew, pretty much all of them, or almost all of them, had come down with yellow fever, and so he was treating them, and very sadly he died. And when I was researching that video, I came across an article in the news in 1845 saying that Sidney Bernard had actually died on HMS Worcester, which must have been very close to HMS Eclair, which is the ship he was on, treating all these stricken men who had yellow fever. So when I found this, I I was just really amazed at the connection. And so if you get a chance, do go over and watch that video actually. It's so interesting. Sidney Bernard essentially knew he was going to fall ill, and he died on this ship, Worcester, and was then buried on a very remote island in the Medway. So this button just made me think of Dr. Sidney Bernard when I found it. And to finish off, we do have a couple of mysterious items here. This one is rather beautiful. It looks as if it has been on the corner of maybe some kind of cabinet or maybe a book. It's got a hinge on it, so it obviously opened. So was this attached to wood, or could it have been attached to the cover of something like a family Bible? I don't know. What do you think? It's certainly very ornate and very pretty. And the second little mysterious item is this little bone object here, which must have come from something, but I do not know what. Maybe some kind of bobbin? I really don't know. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? And the last thing before I go, I just wanted to remind you that tickets are now on sale for Secrets of the Thames, which is the UK's first major exhibition dedicated to mudlarking, and it's going to be at the London Museum from 4th of April. That's the London Museum Docklands, and it's going to be absolutely fantastic. I was out on the foreshore yesterday with Zuza and Helen from London Museum, and they told me a little bit about what's going on at the moment, all the preparations, and it really does sound fantastic. I've lent a couple of my finds to be displayed, and there's going to be over 350 artefacts found in the Thames by lots of different mudlarks, many of whom you'll be familiar with if you've been watching my videos or if you follow mudlarking on Instagram. And so it should be fantastic for young and old alike. And honestly, it's going to be the best fun you can have without actually getting your feet wet. You don't need wellies, and you'll be able to discover the magic of mudlarking for yourself by visiting this exhibition. You will have noticed that at the beginning of this video there was some pretty lovely footage, and I would just like to say a big thank you to Kenrick Rowe for helping me with that. So this is a special thank you to Kenrick for creating that fantastic footage. So that's it from me for the time being, and I just want to say a huge thank you to you all for watching my videos. Thank you so much for all your comments. If you've got anything that you want to say about any of these objects here that we've just spoken about, that you've just seen, then please do put them in the comments below. Thank you to everybody who's donated to my Ko-fi and my super thanks. I really appreciate it, and I really appreciate each and every one of you. I hope you go on to have an excellent week ahead. Make sure you take some time out for yourself, do something that you really enjoy, and hopefully that sun will keep shining until the next time we meet. Take care, and I'm sending you lots of love from here in London. Bye-bye.